All right, we are back. Let's study Shrimad Bhagavatam. Actually, we don't do Bhagavatam on the mornings when we have programs. It's just a little too much to do 2 full classes every day. But I actually am noticing, and I think others are noticing, that when we don't do the Shrimad Bhagavatam study in the morning, everyone just feels like a little off. So this is a very potent practice, and yeah, I recommend you continue doing this even when we're all not together. I hope to continue doing this and keep posting this on YouTube and so on. But yeah, where are we?
20, 29, I think.
Yes, I think we're on 31 actually. So Vyasadeva, he's even though he had done so many things for the welfare of others, including elaborate on the Mahabharata and the Bhagavad Gita, the summum bonum teaching therein, he was still feeling incomplete, and he was still feeling that he didn't feel satisfied at heart at that point. So we were talking about how to ultimately be satisfied at heart. We need to take guidance, and Vyasadeva is about to receive the guidance that he needs to actually be satisfied. And ultimately, we're going to learn that today through Vyasadeva's teacher, Narad Muni. So, we're all... Vyasadeva is so advanced. He's an incarnation of the Lord. It's mentioned earlier in the Bhagavatam. He is an incarnation of the Lord. And yet he's not satisfied, even after doing so many great works. I was actually meditating this morning on how wonderful it would be to make some type of parody cartoon or something about just the nature of the world and how to potentially infuse spiritual teachings in such a parody. That's just my nature. I like to kind of draw out the kind of tragedies of life in a comedic way. That's how I deal with my suffering and trauma in life. I like to make jokes out of things. So I don't know why I was chanting this kind of thing was coming into my experience. And then, but I was just thinking about how I would be so satisfied just to do this very small work. It probably wouldn't fully satisfy me. But Vyasadeva just did this he did so many incredible works. So the whole Vedas were split into 4 by him. He had given so much knowledge. He had composed so many Puranas. He created composed the whole Mahabharata, dictated the whole Mahabharata, including the Bhagavad Gita. Everyone, which is like an incredible teaching to all of the world. And yet he was still unsatisfied. So what will satisfy us? What will satisfy him? And that will be revealed. And that's what the Bhagavatam's whole essence is about. What's really going to satisfy us? What's really going to satisfy the living entity? And what's really going to be satisfactory to the Supreme? So this subject matter is what the Bhagavatam is solely and wholly focused on. And we're going to learn why Vyasadeva was not satisfied today. Hopefully. Actually, I'm not sure about that. I don't know how many verses we'll get in. But we'll get closer to why Vyasadeva is not satisfied. And we'll see how he and we can really be satisfied. So, without further ado, we'll chant some prayers. Actually, I always forget to chant Prabhupada's Pranam Mantra, so I'm just going to chant Prabhupada's Pranam Mantra first, so that way I get it out of the way and I don't forget it. So, I'm going to share this with you guys. You guys can scroll through this. And all together, we'll start like this. Asking Prabhupada to bless us through his great commentation of the Shrimad Bhagavatam. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Dinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatare. Now we're going to do Prabhupada's prayer. So he started his Bhagavad Gita. The personalities he was calling out to translate this great work all together.
Chakshurmitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Madhamayam Dati Swapadantakam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utpada Kamala Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagra Jatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijanhitam Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Cha Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindaneshwari Vishvanuste Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalparubhyasya Kripa Sindhubheva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Naram Shaiva Rotama Devim Sarvasti Vyasam Tato Jaya.
Before reciting the Shrimad Bhagvatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer their respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayan, unto Nar Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, and unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author.
Jai. Nirvidam Swagata Krishna Punishavna Kirtana Vidayanta Stoi Pratyani Vidunodi Suri Satam.
Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted.
Ashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtigi. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Parth.
And what's it mean, Parth? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jai. All right, so we are continuing on. We have made it quite far now into the first canto. We're in the midst of the fourth. The fourth chapter. Yeah, we're halfway through the little book there. I mean, the bigger book, we're far less. But yeah, we're making our way through. And the main thing is we're purifying ourselves every day by regular Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Nityam is eternally, and Bhagavat is, there's the pure devotee, is the Bhagavat, the person Bhagavat, and then there's the Shastric Bhagavat, the Bhagavatam. And Sevaya, we're doing service unto this Bhagavat. So this is actually the secret to do seva, to do service. This will actually satisfy us, and Vyasadeva is going to find a superior service that he has not gotten to as of at this point in time yet. So that will be revealed to him by his guru. But without further ado, I'll just get a little catch us up. Vyasadeva is noticing, I'm feeling incomplete, though I myself am fully equipped with everything required by the Vedas. He's like the perfect Vedic personality. He can follow everything that's there, but he's still feeling incomplete. So that's kind of a strike against, maybe if you're of the opinion that, if you just follow all these Vedic principles, you'll feel happy and complete and things like that. If Vyasadeva cannot even do it, what chance do you have? We'll find out how he feels complete. Kimba Bhagavata Dharma
Kimba Bhagavata Dharma
Na Prayena Nirupita Priya Paramahamsana Taeva Hyachyuta Priyaha Kimba or Bhagavata Dharma, devotional activities of the living beings. Not. Prayena, almost. Nirupita, directed. Priya, dear. Paramahamsanam, of the perfect beings. Teva, that also. He, certainly. Achyuta, the infallible. Priya, attractive. This may be because I did not specifically point out the devotional service of the Lord, or Bhagavat Dharma. He did so many things with other forms of Dharma, material Dharma, but he didn't actually point out Bhagavat Dharma. The devotional service of the Lord, which is dear both to perfect beings and to the infallible Lord. Purport: the dissatisfaction which was being felt by Srila Vyasadeva is expressed herein in his own words. This was felt for the normal condition of the living being in the devotional service of the Lord. Unless one is fixed in the normal condition of service, neither the Lord nor the living being can become fully satisfied. This defect was felt by him when Narada Muni, his spiritual master, reached him. It is described as follows. So he's feeling that I haven't, I didn't focus on my devotional service unto the Lord, or he didn't point it out. He himself had done so much devotional service unto the Lord. He brought people to the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, even in Mahabharata, which is a perfect teaching. But ultimately, the whole Mahabharata previously, there were so many subject matters there, but he didn't exclusively point out or lead anyone to understand fully and wholly that devotional service to the Lord is the supreme essence of life. This is how one could be fully satisfied. And he's actually feeling not satisfied by not actually, because his job is to point out the highest path for all of humanity, and he didn't get a chance to give the highest, most confidential teaching or elaborate on it. It was given. It's in Mahabharata, it's in Bhagavad Gita, but it wasn't elaborated on. So Bhagavatam is the elaboration. So we'll see a little bit more of this now. Tasyaivam kilam atmanam
Tasvaivam kilam matyamanam
manyamanasya kidyataha
Manyamanasya Vivukata
Krishnasya narado bhyaga
Krishnasya Narado Vyaga
ashramam pragudahritam
Ashram Pragudahritam
tasya his evam
Evam
thus
Thus
kilam
Kilam
inferior
Freedom
atmanam
Atmanam
soul
Soul
manyamanasya
Manyamanasa
thinking within the mind
Thinking within the mind
kidyata
Kidyata
regretting
Regretting
Krishnasya
Krishnasya
of Krishna Dvaipayan Vyas
of Krishna Dvaipayam Vyasa
Narada Abhyaga
Narada Abhyaga
Narada came there
Narada came
Ashramam
Ashramam
the cottage
the cottage
Prak
before
before Udahritam
Udharatam
said
said
as mentioned before Narada reached the cottage of Krishna Dvaipayan Vyas on the banks of the Saraswati just as Vyasadeva was regretting his defects. So Narada's got this transcendental perfect timing. As soon as Vyasadeva was regretting his defects, Narada's like, oh, I'll fix that for you. And he comes immediately. Purport, the vacuum felt by Vyasadeva was not due to his lack of knowledge. Bhagavat Dharma is purely devotional service of the Lord to which the monist has no access. The monist is not, a monist is one who realizes the oneness of everything and devotes one's life to the merging of his life into all of existence. But actually, devotional service to the Lord is not even accessible by the monist who has this type of realization. It's very confidential and actually can only be given by the Lord himself or the Lord's representative. That's the only confidential way. It's like a foolproof system. Either you please the Lord or you please the Lord's representative or you do not get it. You can't storm your way with, I'm going to study this book, I'm going to do this thing, I'm going to do that thing. You can't do anything on your own strength, actually. It all has to be given by mercy. So, the monist who's realized, so it says, the monist is not counted among the Paramahamsas, or the most perfect of the renounced order of life. Shrimad Bhagvatam is full of narrations of the transcendental activities of the personality of Godhead. Although Vyasadeva was an empowered divinity, he still felt dissatisfaction because in none of his works were the transcendental activities of the Lord properly explained. The inspiration was infused by Sri Krishna directly in the heart of Vyasadeva, and thus he felt the vacuum as explained above. It is definitely expressed herewith that without the transcendental loving service of the Lord, everything is void. But in the transcendental service of the Lord, everything is tangible, without any separate attempt at fruitive work or empirical philosophical speculation. So let me just look up how tangible is relevant to this. Tangible is perceptible by touch or be able to be experienced without any separate attempt at fruitive work or empirical philosophical speculation. We were mentioning you can't work for this type of thing, and you can't study or attain knowledge to receive this type of thing. It's got to be given, and ultimately it's done through service. So the very sincere servant is far superior to the most educated of Vedic knowledge, because they actually understand the highest knowledge, that service unto the Lord is the supreme occupation for the living entity. This Bhagavat Dharma, this was mentioned, the first thing by Sutta Goswami, right, in chapter 2, is that, the sages asked what's going to ultimately satisfy the people of this age. And he said the only thing that can completely satisfy the self is that which enables transcendent loving service unto the Supreme Lord, or Bhagavat Dharma. Savai Pumsam Paro Dharma, the Paro Dharma, the ultimate Dharma is Bhagavat Dharma. So, in this confidential type of dharma or activities or occupation of the living entity, what does the living entity do with one's life? Only in Bhagavat Dharma can the living entity be completely satisfied. Everything else will be a waste of time, and it'll be ended by the force of time. So, the intelligent, obviously, they do Bhagavad Dharma. This is what the intelligent does, because the intelligent wants to be satisfied. The intelligent wants to fulfill the ultimate meaning of life. So even Vyasadeva, who was doing Bhagavad Dharma, he still was feeling incomplete in his Bhagavad Dharma, and he said, I should have solely and wholly focused on this. And now Narada is coming to encourage him, inspire him. Tam abhigyaya sahasa
Namabhigyaya sahasa
pratyuttaya gatam muni
Pratyuthaya gatam munihi
pujayam asavidhivan
Pujyamayam vidhina
naradam sura pujitam
Naradam sura pujitam
tam abhigyaya.
Tam abhigyaya.
Seeing the good fortune of his,
Seeing the
or
good fortune of his
arrival, it's Narada's arrival. Sahasa,
Sahasa.
all of a sudden,
All of a sudden
pratyuttaya,
Pratyuthaya
getting up,
Getting up.
agatam,
Agatam
arrived at,
Arrived at
Muni,
Muni
Vyasadeva,
Vyasadeva.
Pujayam asa,
Pujayamasa
worship,
Worship
vidhivat,
Vidhivat
with the same respect as offered to Vidhi or Brahma.
the same respect as offered to Vidhi or Brahma.
Naradam,
Naradam.
to Narada,
To Narada.
Sura Pujitam,
Sura Pujitam.
worship by the demigods.
Worship by the demigod.
At the auspicious arrival of Sri Narada, Sri Vyasadeva got up respectfully and worshipped him, giving him veneration equal to that given to Brahmaji, the creator. So Narada is like he's the great sage amongst the demigods. He's one of the first of Brahmaji's sons. Brahma is the original creator, and it's actually going to explain how Narada got that position, and where and how he was an ordinary living soul, like maybe you or I, and that due to his actually Bhagavad Dharma, he got such an exalted position in the future. So, yeah, it's Vyasadev's great fortune that Narada came to him. And now, we're going to end the chapter right here. Purport. Vidhi means Brahma, the first created living being. He is the original student, as well as professor of the Vedas. He learned it from Sri Krishna and taught Narada first. So Narada is the second Acharya in the line of spiritual disciplic succession. He is the representative of Brahma, and therefore he is respected exactly like Brahma, the father of all vidhis, regulations. Similarly, all other successive disciples in the chain are also equally respected as representatives of the original spiritual master. So this is how you actually should respect the spiritual teachers, that they're actually representatives of Brahma or Narada, and ultimately they're giving you the teachings of the Supreme Lord, because this actually was first instructed to Brahma, how to create and how to learn the Vedas from Narayan or Krishna. So, in the beginning of creation. So, we should see how that is reaching us, and we should respect that person. So, you should find a guru or a mentor, and then and absolutely offer that person as much respect and service as possible. And by their blessings and good fortune upon you, you'll be blessed, and they'll want to somehow help you and give you more spiritual strength, and they'll take a special liking to you. And I've seen this in my life, where I have so many wonderful Diksha and Shiksha gurus who looking at me and my wife affectionately and wanting to help us, and if we're down and out, or if we need to be picked up like Vyasadeva, we can count on them to give us a higher perspective. So naturally these people should be honored, respected, and even worshipped. So this is the system, and Vyasadeva worshipped Narada right on his arrival. This is the Vedic understanding, Vedic system. Rishi the other day was very cute. Rishi's not with us because he's taking care of something. For some exam he's taking for some professional matter. But he was very cute. He had taken the leftover flowers and he strung a garland that you guys learned how to do on Janmashtami. And actually he wanted to do something nice, where he wanted to garland the speaker of Bhagavatam, which in this case would be me, but which is a very nice sentiment. It's unfortunate that he would give the garland to me instead of a very exalted personality. But this is actually he had a very proper type of attitude and mood, and actually we should also find these respectable personalities who are the representatives of Narada, the representatives of Brahma, the representatives of our Guru Parampara, Srila Prabhupada, and we should honor them and really actually offer them some sort of worship or some type of special respect. And so, Rishi, due to lack of any other people speaking Bhagavatam around, he was thinking of somehow giving that honor to me. But actually, he'll do better if he finds someone much more qualified. But he has the right type of idea. So even Vyasadeva does this. And now we're going to go on to chapter 5, Narada's instructions on Shrimad Bhagavatam for Vyasadeva. Sutuvacha Atatam Sukhamasina Upasinam Brahachtravaha Devarshi Prahaviprashim Vinapani Smayanniva Sutta Uvacha said, Atha, therefore, tam, him, sukhamasinaha, comfortably seated, upasinam, unto one sitting nearby, brahatravaha, greatly respected, devarshi, the great rishi among the gods, praha, said, viprashim, unto the rishi among the brahmanas, Vinapani, one who carries a vina in his hand. Smayanniva, apparently smiling. Sutta Goswami said, thus the sage amongst the gods, Narada, comfortably seated and apparently smiling, addressed the rishi amongst the brahmanas, Vedavyas. So now the sage amongst the gods is going to address the rishi among the brahmanas. Both incredibly empowered personalities, both actually mentioned as forms or incarnations of the Supreme Lord earlier in the Bhagavatam, but now they have their positions are kind of revealed. Narada takes the senior position to Vyasadeva, and he instructs him. Purport: Narada was smiling because he well knew the great sage Vedavyas and the cause of his disappointment, as he will explain gradually. Vyasadeva's disappointment was due to insufficiency in presenting the science of devotional service. Narada knew the defect, and it was confirmed by the position of Vyas. Narada Uvacha Parasharya Mahabhaga Bhavata Kachidatmana Paritushyati Sharira Atma Manasa Eva Va Narada Uvacha said, Parasharya, O son of Parashara, who himself is a great sage, and that this pastime is related in the Mahabharata, how Parashara had approached Satyavati and given Vyasadeva as her first child. So Mahabhaga, the greatly fortunate, Bhavata, your, Kachit, if it is, Atmana, by the self-realization of, Paritushyati, does it satisfy? Sharira, identifying the body. Atma, self. Manasaha, identifying the mind. Eva, certainly. Va, and. Addressing Vyasadeva, the son of Parashara, Narada inquired, are you satisfied by identifying with the body, or the mind as objects of self-realization. So, purport, this was a hint by Narada to Vyasadeva regarding the cause of his despondency. Vyasadeva, and despondency is not a word that we often use. It's low spirits, a state of being in low spirits.
Despondency.
Despondency. The state, the cause for his disappointment. Being a great son of a great father, he should not have identified the self with the body or mind. Ordinary men, this is actually similar teaching that Krishna gave at the beginning of Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. He didn't ask a question. He told Arjuna, why are you identifying with these temporary things of the body and mind? So he should not have identified the self with the body or the mind. Ordinary men with a poor fund of knowledge can identify the body as self or the mind as self, but Vyasadeva should not have done so. One cannot be cheerful by nature unless one is factually seated in self-realization, which is transcendental to the material body and mind. So if we want to be joyous, anyone here not want joy in their life? Who wants some joy? It's a stupid question. Everyone should raise their hand. Yes, I want joy. Yes, we all want joy. So this is how you become joyful. Unless you're factually seated in self-realization, unless you actually understand who you are in truth, you cannot know joy, which is transcendental to the material body and mind. Why? Because in ignorance, the nature is suffering, not joy. But in realized knowledge, actually joy is the nature. Satchidananda, eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss. So we'll continue. Jigyasitam susampanam.
Jigyasitam susampanam.
Apite mahadadbhutam.
Apite mahadadbhutam.
Kritavan bharatam yastvam.
Kritavan bharatam yasvam.
Sarvartha paribrimhitam.
Sarvartha paribrimhitam.
Jigyasitam.
Jigyasitam.
Fully inquired.
Susampanam.
Well versed. Api, in spite of, te, your, mahat adbhutam, great and wonderful, kritavan, prepared, bharatam, the Mahabharata, yatvam, what you have done, sarva artha, including all sequences, paribrimhitam, elaborately explained. Your inquiries were full and your studies were also well fulfilled, and there is no doubt that you have prepared a great and wonderful work, the Mahabharata, which is full of all kinds of Vedic sequences elaborately explained. So he's glorifying the work, the Mahabharata. The despondency of Vyasadeva was certainly not due to his lack of sufficient knowledge, because as a student he had fully inquired about the Vedic literatures, as a result of which the Mahabharata is compiled with full explanation of the Vedas. So Vyasadeva in the Mahabharata gave full explanation of the Vedas, but he gave many things in the Mahabharata. But it's a glorious work indeed, and like I said, our beginning teaching here in the Krishna consciousness movement is the climax of the Mahabharata, the Bhagavad Gita. But here we go. Jigyasitam aditam cha
Jigyasitam ditam cha
Brahma yat tat sanatanam
Brahmaya yat sanatanam
Tathapi shochasyatmanam
Tathapi shochasyatmanam
Akritartha iva prabho
Karta eva prabho
Jigyasitam,
Jigyasitam
deliberated fully well.
deliberatively well
Aditam,
Aditam
the knowledge obtained.
the knowledge of
Cha,
Cha
and.
and
Brahma,
Brahma,
the absolute.
the
Yat,
Yat
what?
what
Tat,
Tat,
that.
that.
Sanatanam,
Sanatanam
eternal.
eternal
Tathapi,
Tathapi
in spite of that.
in spite of that
Shochasi,
Sochasi
lamenting.
implementing
Atmanam,
Atmana
unto the self.
under the self
Akritarthaha,
Akritartha
undone.
undone
Eva,
Eva,
like.
like
Prabho,
Prabho
my dear sir.
my dear sir.
You have fully delineated the subject of impersonal Brahman, as well as the knowledge derived therefrom. Why should you be despondent in spite of all this, thinking that you are undone, my dear Prabhu? So he's asking him this question. You fully delineated this wonderful subject of impersonal Brahman, actually the monistic oneness of all things, how everything is connected through spirit. Purport. The Vedanta Sutra, or Brahma Sutra, compiled by Sri Vyasadeva, is the full deliberation of the impersonal absolute feature, and it is accepted as the most exalted philosophical exposition. Exposition is like that which exposes unto the world, like a presentation to the world. In the world. It covers the subject of eternity, and the methods are scholarly. So there cannot be any doubt about the transcendental scholarship of Vyasadeva. So why should he lament? Vyasuvacha Astyeva me sarvam idam tvayoktam Tathapi natma paritushyate me Tanmulam avyaktam agadha bodham Prichchama hetvatma bhavatma bhutam Vyasaha Vyas Uvacha said, Asti, there is, Eva, certainly, me, mine, Sarvam, all, Idam, this, Tvaya, by you, Uktam, uttered, Tathapi, and yet, Na, not, Atma, self, Paritushyate, does pacify, Me, unto me, Tat, of which, Mulam, root, Avyaktam, undetected, Agadha Bodham, the man of unlimited knowledge, Prichchamahe, do inquire, Tva, unto you, Atmabhava, self-born, Atmabhutam, offspring. Sri Vyasadeva said, all you have said about me is perfectly correct. Despite all this, I am not pacified. I therefore question you about the root cause of my dissatisfaction. For you are a man of unlimited knowledge due to your being the offspring of one, who is Brahma, who is self-born, without a mundane father and mother. Purport. In the material world, everyone is engrossed with the idea of identifying the body or the mind with the self. As such, all knowledge disseminated in the material world is related either with the body or with the mind, and that is the root cause of all despondencies. This is not always detected, even though one may be the greatest erudite or learned scholar in materialistic knowledge. It is good, therefore, to approach a personality like Narada to solve the root cause of all despondencies. Why Narada should be approached is explained below. So this is going to be how you can overcome all types of despondencies and miserable situations. You should ask someone greater in knowledge the source of your suffering and a solution. So here we go. We'll get a solution. Savai bhavan veda samasta guhyam upasito yad purusha puranaha Paravadesho manasaiva vishvam Srajatyavatyati gunera sangaha Saha. Thus, Vai, certainly, Bhavan, yourself, Veda, no, Samasta, all-inclusive, Guhyam, confidential, Upasita, devotee of, Yat, because, Purushaha, the personality of Godhead, Puranaha, the oldest, Paravareshaha, the controller of the material and spiritual worlds, Manasa, mind, Eva, only, Vishvam, the universe, Srijati, creates, Avatiyati, annihilates, Gunai, by the qualitative matter. Excuse me. Sorry. Asangaha, unattached. My Lord, everything that is mysterious is known to you because you worship the Creator and Destroyer of the material world and the Maintainer of the spiritual world, the original personality of Godhead, who is transcendental to the three modes of material nature. Purport. A person who is cent percent, which means 100%, engaged in the service of the Lord is the emblem of all knowledge. He's like the representative of all knowledge. Such a devotee of the Lord in full perfection of devotional service is also perfect by the qualification of the personality of Godhead. As such, the eightfold perfections of mystic power, Ashtasiddhi, make up very little of his godly opulence. He is not at all concerned with these things. A devotee like Narada can act wonderfully by his spiritual perfection, and which every individual is trying to attain. Srila Narada is a cent percent perfect living being, although not equal to the personality of Godhead. Because he's a devotee of the all-perfect Supreme Personality of Godhead, who's full in all qualities and opulences. He himself becomes extremely qualified, and actually a perfect living entity. But that does not mean, even if we are a perfect living entity, which I know personally I'm not even close, and we should maybe have a similar realization. Even if we were to perfect being the living entity, we still reach nowhere close to the perfectness of a higher level of perfectness that the Supreme Lord has. So, but because he's a great devotee of the Supreme Lord and he worships that Supreme Lord, he is everything is known to him. And he's really the most ultimate blessed person that we should hear from. Actually, it's our great fortune to be reading Bhagavatam because we do get to hear from Narada. But we should also approach similar personalities. Maybe you're not going to get someone who's as perfect as Narada in this material world. But you should get someone as versed in Vedic understanding and as versed in Bhagavad Dharma as possible. And hear from that person. And realize the incredible qualification and speciality of even having association with such a person. So let's hear one more verse and then we have to stop. Tvam paryatanarka iva trilokim Antascharo vayurivatma sakshi. Excuse me, sorry. Paravare brahmani dharmato vratai Snatasya menyunamalam vichakshva Tvam, your goodness. Paryatan, traveling. Arkaha, the sun. Eva, like, I was going to say like, but that's not it. Like. Trilokim, the three worlds. Antacharaha, can penetrate into everyone's heart. Vayu Eva, as good as the all-pervading air. Atma, self-realized. Sakshi, witness. Paravare, in the matter of cause and effect. Brahmani, in the absolute. Dharmataha, under the disciplinary regulations. Vratai, in vow. Snatasya, having been absorbed in. Mine. Nunam, deficiency. Alam, clearly. Vichakshva, search out. Like the sun, your goodness can travel everywhere in the three worlds, and like the air, you can penetrate the internal region of everyone. As such, you are as good as the all-pervasive Supersoul. Please, therefore, find out the deficiency in me. Despite my being absorbed in transcendence under disciplinary regulations and vows. Purport. Transcendental realization, pious activities, worshipping the deities, charity, mercifulness, non-violence, and studying the scriptures under strict disciplinary regulations are always helpful. So, Vyasadeva has done all those things. But still, he's feeling some deficiency. And Narada Muni is the most qualified person to help him remove this deficiency. So we should we should hear from Narada Muni. in the Bhagavatam. We should hear from persons who are conversant with the wisdom of Narada Muni and this Bhagavat knowledge. So we will get further into this. Vyasadeva took a very humble position, even though he's a great sage who's done many wonderful things, but he took the humble position. And yeah, we're going to hear Narada's instructions next time. We'll probably do it Monday. So if you want to come, please come. Also, it's on YouTube as well, so if you ever miss a day or you want to catch up.
Traction right now.
What's that?
It's starting to get traction right now.
Oh yeah, a whole 25 views there, so
Better than 40 now.
it was better than I know we were getting like 5 at one point, so that is much better than 5, but still. Thank you guys. Hare Krishna, and